Hello. So it's time to discuss Module 6, and I first wanted to point out my shirt because Monday is actually our 67th day of school, and so we did a bunch of 6-7 activities today with 6th graders and tried to make it as uncool as possible. Like I had 6-7 Easter eggs in all my slides, answers to things were 6-7. In math class, they did all kinds of stuff that were 6-7, plotted points. It was a crazy day. But anyway, so with 6-7, let's talk about Module 6, but not Module 7. I wanted to mention how the first question talked about reading and driving a car. And the really cool thing is with my oldest daughter, I was able to do both with her. I was able to teach her K4 and was able to teach her to read and watched the progression of letter identification to sounds to blending with words and sentences and see how she advanced from baby steps to learning more. And in addition to comparing that to driving a car, because when you first start driving, it is so overwhelming to think about, okay, I've got to watch the speedometer, the gas gauge, and pay attention to, is this the gas? Is this the brake? What's going on in all the directions around me and behind me? Do I have my blinker? Like, there's so much that now it's just automatic for us. But I remember going through it with her, how I had to go over each and every step. And it was stressful thinking about how you had to go over all that. And so it's the same thing with reading. We forget because it's been a minute since we learned to read. We've been doing it for a little while. So remembering all those steps in beginning to drive and teaching our kids to drive, and then bringing that down to even a lower level with learning to read, it's great how does become automatic, and it takes practice and it takes effort, and you're gonna mess up, and you learn from your mistakes, and all of those things come into play with helping you to become a better reader. The next question went on to how it's not focusing on fluent reading isn't the only skill, but it helps so much, and it helps everything else to become easier, because when a student no longer has to sound out cat, and they can just read cat, then they can read that the cat in the hat sat on the mat and understand that now there is a cat that is sitting on the mat and he's probably fat with a rat and all those things. But once the reading becomes fluent and easy, then they're able to focus on the comprehension and not struggle as much on sounding out the words, but what does it mean in this paragraph? What is the author trying to tell me? What is the point? Is there something I should inference? And we're ready to do these skills that we're doing in upper elementary. And it all started with sounding out things to become more automatic, to become more fluent. So I just enjoyed comparing how we start to seeing where we end up, and how we get to have a part of that journey of starting out slow and then making it more advanced.